A new Fox News poll finds that voters prefer the Republican Party and Republicans over Democrats on handling top issues such as national security, border security, crime, the economy, and immigration. On the economy specifically, the GOP is up by 15 points, the highest it's scored in the history of Fox polls going back 20 years. Joining us right now is New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew. He's a member of the Homeland Security and Transportation and Infrastructure Committees, and he transitioned from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party a few years ago. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
It's great to be with you as well, Maria. One of the smartest things I did.
What's your reaction now to see this poll saying that more Americans, particularly independents, are leaning to the right, relying on the Republican Party to actually fix the issues that are most important to them?
Well, it makes sense. It's one of the main reasons that I left the party. I mean, it was just careening literally to the left, and a party of extreme progressives that really didn't have any of the answers that people want to hear in America. I mean, if you look, it's interesting when Biden says, at his press conference, has anybody done more? I don't know that anybody's ever done more to hurt the country. As I've said before, and I'll say again, this is literally the worst presidency I can ever remember. Maybe the worst presidency ever. It isn't just on one front. It is the economy, as you just mentioned, literally what's happening with inflation. People have actually not gained in income. They've lost in income in the last 8 out of 12 months because the cost of living is going up so much. The supply chain. The president says there's no problem with the store shelves and the supply chain. You would have talked to my wife. She went to the supermarket, no joke, yesterday, and there were empty shelves and zero chicken in a large ShopRite. So I think there definitely is a problem. What's going on with energy
I think you're
costs?
Right. And it's incredible to me, Congressman, because you've got the store shelves bare. You've got a chip shortage, semiconductor chip shortage that I'm being told got worse at the end of last year. You've got foreign policy decisions that everybody's questioning. And then you've got questions about conflicts of interest. I mean, Peter Schweitzer is out with a new book called Red-Handed, and he says that the Biden family was paid $31 million while Biden was vice president and president by the Chinese Communist Party. Is that what's dictating his foreign policy decisions? The fact that he's gotten money, been paid by the CCP? And I know Hunter Biden also got money from Ukraine. Is that dictating these decisions? Is that what the problem is?
Well, I'll say two things that are very clear. One, whatever is dictating his decisions is terrible. And then secondly, something is very wrong. And it's amazing, quite frankly, that more hasn't been made of it. I believe that when we take over as Republicans, we are going to investigate and evaluate all of this. This is wrong. It's not right. And we know that there are real problems there. And we don't deal with China or Russia out of strength, but out of weakness. In fact, we're dealing with the whole world out of weakness. It's amazing stuff, and I think we're going to find out a lot more as we go along. And that's why you see the numbers you do. People are not stupid. They realize something's going on. They don't like it.
Do you think Joe Biden has any answers for the inflation skyrocketing numbers, oil prices? We spoke with former House Speaker Newt Gingrich yesterday on these poll numbers and the fact that more people are leaning to the right as a result of this. Here's what he said about what this means for the midterms coming up.
When Trafalgar came out with a poll this week that the Republicans may be ahead by 57-42 in terms of who you're going to vote for Congress, that would be a landslide that would take you back probably to 1920 to have a Republican Congress that was that strong. And it would mean probably picking up 6 or 7 seats in the Senate and between 40 and 70 seats in the House. You'd think at that point that the Democratic leadership would get together and say, this ain't working. Instead, they get together and they start chanting, we got to get this done, even though nobody outside their group wants it.
Congressman, what do you think is going to happen in the midterms? Can you believe Newt Gingrich just said 40 seats potentially turning? And then you have Jen Psaki on Friday saying, well, Look, if you're upset that we didn't get our voting bills passed, go have a margarita, go do a kickboxing class, and come back on Monday ready to fight. They're still driving their agenda despite this rejection from the American voter.
Their answer to having the wrong agenda is to intensify it. I don't understand it. I've never seen anything like it. So you think that you would learn and you would see, this isn't going well. We're not doing the right thing. This isn't what the American people want. We better really double back here and figure this out. They just intensify all the wrong things that they're doing. And it's going to get worse. I think there's going to be more problems because, frankly, with all that they're doing with the vax mandates and some of the other issues are only going to increase inflation because there are going to be more dollars running after less goods because some people aren't going to get the vaccine, and when they don't, then they're not going to be able to work in certain areas, states like New Jersey, for example. So I think it's going to be a real problem. I think they have a real problem, and I think they believe that they are morally so superior and on the high ground that they're just going to continue to push and push and push in the wrong direction. So I think there's going to be a big change. Thank God we are on the precipice, and if we are not careful, we literally could lose the America we know and love. This is serious stuff.
Very, very disturbing, Congressman. 288 days until the midterm elections. We'll see what kind of damage can be done. Until then, we'll be watching and reporting it. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks very much.
As well here. Thank you.
Congressman Jeff Van Drew in New Jersey this morning.